So I think so we are live. Just let me check.
Yes, we are live.
Yep. So hey guys, let's wait for 2 to 3 minutes so that everyone can join. Okay, Sid is all already here. Yep, in the Sid is always here. Yeah.
Hey, Siddharth. Hi.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Vinayak is also here.
Hey, Vinayak. Hi.
Okay. So yeah. So if you have any doubts related to web, we will clear out everything, each and everything, and we will discuss on also to on open source. Because Santosh is also GitHub star, so yeah, we can really must talk about open source thing. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Guys, you can introduce yourself. Those who are coming. Okay. Hi, Shubham. Shubham is also here. Like, Shubham is very active in community. I will say in Twitter too.
Yeah, I have seen him. Hey, Shubham. Hi. Thanks for joining.
Okay. Great. Okay.
So, by the way, you are all are from same college?
No, we are like Sid is from Vadodara, Shubham from Ahmedabad, Vinayak
Okay.
is from yeah like he's my brother,
Ah,
so
ah,
we are from the Chhattisgarh. Yep, yeah,
okay. That's great. That's what community can make possible.
yeah. Oh, Atulya is also here. Hi Atulya, he's
Yeah,
a
Tulya.
junior from
Hi.
my college.
Okay.
Sorry, she is
Hey,
from.
Tulya.
Sorry, I am just pronounced wrong. She. So yeah, hey all. Unnati is also here. Hi Unnati. So we have a collab with Unnati too in 1 hour after 1 hour, like
Okay.
with her community Codex script about MSP kind of thing, Microsoft. So yeah, do join that too, guys. Those who are watching.
Oh, nice. Hey, Unnati. Hi.
Okay, so yeah, let's get started with. I think there are 2 to 3 minutes. So let's deep dive into the main topic. So Santosh, like those who are from first year, just entered in college, but didn't know about anything about not about
Mm-hmm.
community, not about you can say a web, no mobile app. So what do you think? How they can get started with any of the tech stack? First of all, your views on that.
Okay. First of all, good thing is nowadays you have a lot of organizations, big organization actually supporting all the students. For example, you have Google, which runs a program called Google Students Developer Club, and Microsoft has its own. Even GitHub has its own. So the first thing I think you should go ahead and try is just go ahead and check if you already have those student clubs available in your college and try to be part of it. I mean, of course, that's something which is promoted by an organization. They give you a lot of contents for free, so you can grow yourself up, and that should be the first thing. If in case, let's say you see, okay, there is nothing which is available, then try to be part of any existing community which is available. So, for example, maybe in your city, right? So maybe in your city you have some GDG groups, which is known as Google Developers Group. Just go ahead and check. They already have meetups planned for every month. Go ahead and check if they have something, they need something, they want. the college, maybe the college you are representing, they need someone from your college to represent them in as part of GTG. And that will also help you grow in the community, as well as, of course, your technical knowledge, right? Because they will be they're already being supported by Google. So you will, of course, get a lot of exposure, I would say. That's what you can try. In case, let's say, even you don't have any GDG available, which happens, right? I mean, not every city has GDG. So in that case, just go ahead and check online. There are a lot of communities, like AdiHub is one, which is he's doing amazing, right? So try to be part of something, some communities like that, who can actually help you grow by sharing the contents, how to grow yourself, how to start with open source contributions. That's how you should actually plan.
Okay, so Santosh, like you say, join the community. So
Yeah.
like any first you can say first year guy or like folks, any first year folks think that like why should I join? Like already I got a content
Mm.
here. Like why like there are many you can say the mindset is going on like what we get benefit
Mhm.
from community. So yeah, what are
Yeah.
your point of view as a yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really good question, because a lot of things, a lot of people, right? I mean, it is not applied only to students. It is also applied to the people who actually are working in the industry, right? They also think, why should I? I mean, I'm getting paid. I'm saving my time, and I can work as long as I want. Why should I care about the community? The same applies to the students. They think, okay, it's college life, we should enjoy it. But remember, once you go out of the college, you realize the true reality to actually find a good job, right? So in our days, we had nothing like this, right? I actually completed my engineering back in 2008. Even the internet was new, right? I mean, it was still growing. India was like far behind in 2008. Now it's up to, thanks to lot of internet providers like Geo, who has
Yeah.
actually reduced the internet rate, and now we can actually access everything for free. But in my time, it was like I had only books, right? If I have to actually read something, I have to purchase a book, which was really costly. Of course, I couldn't afford it because of some conditions, but that was the only option. Even if I have to go ahead and do some trainings, that they were also costly, right? So in those days, there were a lot of training institutes which still run, but they were again costly. So that was not an option. Nowadays, everything is for free. So what's the advantage you are going to get? It's not what I am going to get. Sorry, what company is going to get who is supporting you. It's not. It's like what you are going to get. So let's talk about it. So first thing, of course, you are getting all the contents for free, which is available on the internet, but you are getting the support from the from the big orgs like Google, Microsoft, and GitHub. So they give you? They give you exposure. They give you exposure with real world, where you can actually go ahead and, let's say, arrange some meetups, talk to the experts, see what is coming new. Like, so what is something new which is coming? Let's say if you're part of GitHub, they can have a call telling you about the new features of GitHub. So you are always ahead of the people who are working in the industry. Remember that, which is really positive, or I will say plus point for you, because once you go out in the market, for let's say you start looking for internship or you start looking for job, you already know most of the things, right? It will help you grow in your career, and you are already starting early, right? There are a lot of developers who actually till the last year they don't know anything. They don't do anything, don't care about anything. Once they go out, they start looking for job. But you are already prepared. You have good exposure in the community. People know you, and this is what makes the difference. If people know you, of course, you are ahead of like 100 candidates already. So in case there are 200 candidates, let's say, you are already in top 10, right? So that's what actually these things can give you.
Okay, like Santosh, like you are an industry person. You know everything about industry and inside and outside. So like many people think that like those who are from town, like now it's COVID and it's like everything is in online, so everyone get an equal opportunity. But at the time of the moment when there is no COVID, when everything is offline, then every town student or college town student thinks that like my college is kind of a waste. I didn't get a good opportunity through this space. So like, what your point of view on like after the COVID happened? So what you can say ideology on that? Can everyone through internet can get an equal opportunity to all?
I would say yes. I mean, remember, so though I'm from Mumbai and I was from Mumbai University, my college was not that big. So my college was like they had just started, and I was the first. We were the first batch actually from to actually get the degree from that particular college, and there was not even a single company which came for actually hiring us. Anyways, that was 2008, so we had like worst recession ever in 2008, and we couldn't get any job. So of course, my lot of friends they had to struggle, including me. I didn't got a very good job, but I was like determined. I wanted to be in dev. I wanted to be a developer. I think that was the only thing I could ever do, write code. So
Yeah.
so I started with that. So same applies to you, right? So whether you are from a big college or not, it doesn't matter. I think one thing which I keep saying is, in case you have like, if you have skills, if you have knowledge, no one can ignore you. Let it be whether you are from any small college or any big college, right? Doesn't matter. What matters at the end is your skill and what you can do and what you have already done. If you are part of all this community, I think it gives you exposure. You can
Yeah.
actually come to the come and tell everyone about your knowledge. They give you platform, and that this is what matters at the end. So I think, yep.
Okay, great. And now let's come to the main topic, the roadmap of web. So, what, according to you, what is the roadmap of a particular those who are web enthusiasts who want to get started with web? So, what your roadmap you can say? Okay, you can say you get started with this, and this. Yeah, Santosh.
Okay, so this is again a very good question because I when I started my career, I was like, we had the JavaScript was not used at that scale, and within few years we realized that we are far behind because actually Java overtook us. So I started my career back in 2008, and the first code which I actually wrote was on ASP. I'm sure most of the people who are in the chat even don't know about what ASP is. Just so ASP was actually the first. It was an active server pages. It was called active server pages, where we used to use scripting language. Like there was VB script and JavaScript, which is more like, what should I relate it to? SSR. I'm sure you might have heard about this word called SSR, server side rendering.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it was closer. Yeah, it was closer to what SSR is today. And then we realized, okay, Microsoft came with some
mm,
technologies. For example, they came with ASP.NET, which is of course web technology, but
yeah,
it actually compiles everything on the server side. And then in few years, NPM came in and it changed everything. I was like, okay, what's happening now? So we figured out that, okay, now JavaScript is taking over the world. So all the technologies which were like booming at that time, ASP.NET, ASP.NET MVC, everywhere things got replaced with JavaScript. And then frameworks came in, right? So AngularJS was the first one,
yeah,
which was a Google product,
yeah,
not product, but yes, open source project, which was way back. Even I think it came around 2009, and people started adopting AngularJS. Believe me, I was not even aware of AngularJS till 2015. And who is to blame? Of course, I am, because of course, industry or your company is not going to care about what's new, right? So as a developer, you have to improve yourself. And then I realized, okay, there are a lot of frameworks by 2015. Then we had AngularJS. Angular was building. So
yeah,
Angular, the next version was actually coming. They started working it in 2014. React.js. Then we realized that backends are also being built in JavaScript. I was like, okay, I always ignored JavaScript, to be frank, because I was not into JavaScript at all. My
okay,
first
yeah,
love was C sharp. So C sharp is what I still love,
yeah,
but I don't get enough chance to work on it, or I think I don't get enough time because I have already a lot of things to do in the community and uh,
yeah,
learning new things. So I don't get enough time, but I still love C sharp. So then I realized, okay, JavaScript is what is actually being used widely. So I started learning about JavaScript. By meanwhile, TypeScript came in, Angular came in basically, and then I went to learn Angular and realized TypeScript is really great. Uh, It's what should I call it as? Should I call it as transpiler or just call it as a language? Whatever it is, right? Because it uses JavaScript as core. So I started
Yeah.
learning about TypeScript, and then I realized, okay, so it has a lot of things because all the functions which you use, all the helper functions which you use is actually JavaScript. It's just a wrapper on top of it, right? So provide you type safety. So in case you are starting with web, I would say now most of the framework or libraries they use TypeScript. So I would suggest go ahead and start learning TypeScript first. People say start JavaScript, but it's up to you. Because if you start learning TypeScript, of course, you have to learn about the basics of JavaScript as well, because you have to be aware of all those APIs, right, which exist in JavaScript. For
Yeah.
example, you have to be aware of arrays, how they work. You have to be aware of how string works. The only thing which you don't have to care about is undefined and nulls. So that's a good thing because believe me, in our times, the the biggest issue was actually getting the exception called this is
Mm.
undefined or null on production. So using TypeScript, at least those errors are gone. So if you have to start, I would suggest go ahead and start with TypeScript and then go ahead and check whichever framework or library you like. So I always suggest to actually try multiple libraries or frameworks first before you go ahead and choose something. I have seen a lot of people from industry saying, okay, this technology is shit, don't use it. I always don't. I never do that. So it's up to you because remember, everyone is different. I may like React, someone else may like Angular. I don't hate anything, but it's like it's what I loved, right? I mean, I loved writing, let's say, Angular code, so that's why I'm an Angular developer. So don't hate anything. It's not that A is good or B is good. It's up to you. So whatever you like, go ahead and try those technologies or framework, and then start learning it. Let's say you tried React and then you said, okay, no, I think this is not what I wanted to learn. Go ahead and see Svelte. You'll still have a lot of time. Remember, you're still in college, right? So no one is going to ask you, okay, work on this project which is written in Svelte or
Yeah.
in Angular. You have a lot of time to explore. So go ahead and explore those framework libraries and see which you feel comfortable with. And it's not like you tried it for a month. I would say try till a release. Let's say Angular has a release cycle of a 6 months, right? So
Yeah.
if you're trying Angular, give it a try till the next release comes in, and then try to upgrade your application because this is where the biggest problem comes in, and you have to upgrade from one version to another. See
Yeah.
what is new, how the community is, because this is what also matters. When in case you go to let's say organization, they are going to, and you, in case you have to suggest which framework to use. Of course, you cannot say, okay, I love React, so use React. They don't need that. They will tell you why
Mm.
React, right? And in case you don't have any idea, okay, I tried it for a month. I liked it. That's not a reason. Of course, they will say, okay, let's move to next person, and see what his thoughts are. In case you
Yeah.
have tried it for a longer period of time, you can actually tell them, okay, I tried React. Then we were able to achieve all those things. Then we got a new version. We were able to upgrade easily without any issues. And this is how it is, right? So you can give a long picture or long story rather than just telling them I love React and then you should use it. So of course, then comes in your framework or library which you have to choose. First is language, which is of course JavaScript, or go with TypeScript, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Then your framework or library, whichever you choose. There are many options today. And then comes in another parts of it. Once you know about front end, do you want to restrict yourself to front end, or do you want to go ahead and explore the backend stuff as well? So in
Yeah.
case you want to explore backend, go ahead and check now again which language. In case you
Mm.
are already feeling comfortable or feeling home with JavaScript, TypeScript, go ahead and use that. There are a lot of frameworks available on top of it. So you have Express.js, you have Nest.js, which is written in TypeScript. Express.js is, of course, written in JavaScript, but it provides you type support. If you feel, okay, I have to choose something else, maybe in backend, I want to use Go because Go is being used or talked widely. Remember, the community matters, right? It's also up to the community how they are selling themselves. Remember, so every every language they have to promote them, right? So that's why you see a lot of devrels or dev advocates in all the organizations. So go ahead and check which backend framework you like more, and then try out that framework, right? And again, it's not just 1 month. Just go ahead and build something from it. Let's say I always suggest people to actually go ahead and try a e-commerce app, because it contains most of the functionality which you can actually find in real world applications. For example, you will learn about logins, you will learn about tokens, you will learn about how to actually upload files on your server, or how to manage your data on the server. So you also need a database, right? Again, it's up to you which database you want to use. There are a lot of databases. Not every database is fit for every use case. So let's say
Hmm.
if you want to go ahead and try NoSQL, you have MongoDB, you have Microsoft also has some version of MongoDB which is available. And then if in case you want to use SQL, of course, SQL Server is available, Oracle is available. So a lot of options are again there. So try those out. I mean, suggestion, once you learn about the basics of technologies, go ahead and build an e-commerce application. Include all the functionality, major functionality you can think of, and then see how it goes, right? I mean, of course, you don't have to give a lot of time every day. Build it over the years, right? That's what you learn. I mean, that's from where you can actually gain your experience as well, by building something which is real world example. And then at the end you need somewhere to deploy. Now again, it comes to you how you want to deploy. So do you want to use, let's say, Kubernetes? You want to use maybe Docker containers, or
Yeah.
maybe you want to use GitHub Actions? Just go ahead and try those out, right? I mean, that's also an experience, because once you go to the real world, or once you go to the industry, they will of course have their own DevOps, then
Yeah.
their own CI/CD pipeline. So you remember, again, you are already aware of those things. That
Hmm.
okay, how to deploy? Okay, what you're using? Okay, GitHub Actions. Okay, cool. Let me just go through the pipeline. You can actually give them more confidence, right? Because while hiring a new developers, what organization cares about is how much time we have to put behind this particular developer. That's the major concern, right? Because the time is equals to money for organizations. They won't be able to actually give you a 1 year of time to groom you up. They will just try out, let's say, they will see, okay, how much you can learn in 3 months. If you already know everything, they don't have to. And this is how you move faster in the organization. Once you start with your job, maybe within a year or two, you may find yourself in a good position, where you are actually helping other developers, right? So this is how you can start. So it's from your front end to the back end to the deployment. And again, the most important thing in today's world, or today's development world, is tools. If I have to
Hmm.
compare 2008 versus 2020, what has improved? Tools. You have a lot of tools available, which were not available back in those days. For example, Webpack is available. So go
Hmm.
ahead and learn about those tools as well. Let's go ahead and explore them, how they work. Any tools, right? For example, if you want to explore Snowpack, Webpack, whatever you feel that okay, it is being used in my project, so go ahead and explore them as well. Don't be like, okay, maybe this, let's say we work with React uses Webpack.
Hmm.
Do people know about Webpack? The answer is no. The reason being, React hides the complexity, right? So it has actually hidden everything within it. So, but don't be like that. So go ahead and explore those tools.
Yeah.
Then similarly for development, you have a lot of tools available. You have editors. You
Hmm.
have NX Dev tools, which is like to manage monorepos. Learn about those things, and yeah, that's actually, I have given you like path for 4 year. I think this is something which you can do in your entire 4 year, and you will be able to actually move way ahead of the people who are actually working in industry.
Okay, so there is a question. I think so. You answered partial one. So, like, can you talk about about the DevRel part in India? Like, because community management is coming up in you can say upcoming field in tech industry, And many people
Mhm.
think that non-tech is not like there is no place for non-tech kind of thing in tech. You can say tech startups, or you can say tech companies, or you can say FANG companies. So what your you can say views on DevRel part, especially in India? Like many people think that DevRel it's not like in India only few people can get you can say opportunity as a developer relation of, you can say, like in a FANG company or in any particular startup. So yeah, what your views on DevRel? Yeah.
I think so. To be frank, DevRel is the term which I am hearing from last 2 years, because anyways I was not into the community before that, so I was not ever uh, aware about it. So DevRel is actually I like the field. So DevRel is where you actually get to uh, what you can do is you can sponsor meetups. You can actually do meetups, conferences. You can go ahead and speak at meetups and conferences. That's what actually people are interested about, because they want to go ahead and talk on the stage and travel. That's why people like it, that you can travel. But believe me, that's sometimes travel can be tedious as well if you have to travel a lot. So in India, I would say there are few companies who are coming up with this role, developer relationship. So it depends. There are two things, right? So you might have heard about DevRel and Dev Advocate as well.
Yeah.
Both are actually. I just had Vasim Chegam, who is from Microsoft. He's a Dev Advocate on my channel, to talk about Dev Advocate. What is the role? And we discuss about this DevRel versus Dev Advocate. So DevRel is kind of where you actually also get involved with the uh, organizing stuff. Okay.
Hmm.
And Dev Advocate is purely on technology. So they don't
Oh,
have to do anything else apart from actually talking about the technology, building tools, building, let's say, new frameworks or something like that. If I go to DevRel, it's everything plus your organization, organizing things, right? So you have to travel a lot of travel to places, see if you can actually sponsor this conference, meetups. Those are things which is involved. Coming to the part where you said, how is the what for India? So in India, you have few organizations which are looking for DevRel or Dev Advocate roles. And as you said, there are few opportunities, of course, because that field requires a lot of dedication. So if you are already doing enough for the community and then they see potential in you, then
hmm.
you are actually few of those people who can get this job. Because of course, not everyone is doing the community thing, right?
Yeah.
So there are already few people who are doing this. So of course, those few people get the job. So,
Okay. Yeah. So there's a, you can say every beginner have this question like DSL is required for web or any tech stack. Yeah.
okay, so let me just tell you, I I don't know DS Algo that much. Of course,
Okay.
I don't.
Same
So
with me.
it's yeah, actually, I
Yeah.
and I never cared about it, but I actually write a lot of code which may involve data structure and algorithm. Remember, we are all engineers, right? We are learning in engineering college.
Yeah.
The most important thing which matters is how you take the problem. Do you have that mentality that, okay, can you solve this problem in your mind, right? So can you actually try to simplify those things? That's what I
Hmm.
do. Maybe I may have written some data structures in past, right? So let's say I have to simplify some code. Of course, what you do, you think about, okay, which function I can use to reduce my execution time.
Yeah.
Or you analyze, right? You analyze your code to see where the bottleneck is. You will go through all the functions. You will put, generally, this is what I do. I go ahead and put the console.logs and see how much time is actually taking between completing entire functions, right? From function A to function B, how much time it takes. And then I try to figure out, okay, which function or which particular part of code is causing this issue. If you can do that much, you don't need DS and Algo. I think you already have that mentality that you can solve the problems. Whenever I get some data structure related questions, I try to actually split them and see how I can. I'm not aware of any data structure and algorithm, to be frank. I have learned few, and I'm aware of those. They help, of course. And in case you learn, that will be better. In case you are looking for looking to actually interview for Google or Microsoft, because that's they start with data structure and algorithm. If you learn, it's good, but it's not like that key. You should focus on it, right? I mean, leave everything aside and then just focus on data structure and algorithm. I don't think so that is required, so it's up to you. I mean, as I said, I have learned few data structures and few algorithms, but I don't know anything everything, right?
Yep. Okay. So like there is you can say one question that is my mind, or you can say from my second year onwards, like what are the things like in India college is missing out in today's world, like there is some things that college didn't provide us, you can say the industry, like I am from that class didn't which didn't provide any industrial, you can say support, and you can say or anything else kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Why are college like Indian colleges? If I am just removing IITs and NITs and triple IT, suppose for that, and
Mm-hmm.
remaining colleges, like what they are missing out, like why they are not able to, you can say, um, excelling. You can say provide the resources like what industry needs, but but just they're focusing about the theoretical knowledge, as you like you are from, you can say, a different time of part, but today's where, or you can say skills are matters, I think so, because you are an industry person, you know, right? But here college are like just write the assignments kind of stuff, that kind of stuff. So what do you think, why they are like, why they are just remembering the old principles, you can say? So what your ideology on thing, like why in India Indian colleges are not more like a American colleges, you can say, because they are providing the industry also, and practicality also. So yeah, what's your view on that?
Actually, okay, this problem is not new. I mean, we also had the same problem. I think we got the first language which we learned was Java, which was in our third year. So it is. I am not sure why they focus more on theory, maybe skills, or the people who actually set up your syllabus. They don't know about anything. Maybe maybe we need more people, or more uh, people from IT actually looking at those syllabus and see how that can be improved. But yes, this problem exists, and the good thing about today is there are this a large organization, right? So who is investing in your colleges in terms of Google Developer Student Club or Microsoft partners or maybe GitHub student programs? So they are investing, and you can actually go ahead and utilize them. Don't rely on the colleges, I would say. I never did. I was never relying on my college that okay, once I complete my degree, my college will help me in anything. My college even don't remember me probably, or don't care where I am right now. So I don't give a damn about it, what my
Yeah.
college is or where I'm learning. What matters is what is your skill. Can you sell yourself? Yes. If you can, you will get a job anywhere, right? You have to put your own effort. Don't rely on the college. College is just complete 4 years, leave, and that's it. In case your college remembers you ever, that's good thing. If they don't, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
would say build your own skill and try to sell yourself, not on the name of your college. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm from IIT. Don't matter if you don't have skill.
Hmm. Okay, Santosh, let's more talk about open source.
Hmm.
First year I, and even I also, when I am third or fourth, I am in second year. I am just read about the terms Google Summer of Code kind of thing, but didn't know like it's a kind of big thing. I didn't do because I didn't. I think in my, you can say, in my second year time, I thought that this is not for me because my college didn't give opportunity for industry kind of thing, and we didn't get into. But after that, when I go like from COVID, thanks to COVID, when I got into the open source community, I will got a very immense thing. But for those who are just entering in for first year of college, so what are your tips from your side, like how you can get started with open source, because your GitHub star, so you can explain it very well on that part. Yeah.
First, if you know about the word open source in your college, of course you are way ahead of me. I heard the open source in 2014 because When I was in college, there was nothing called open source. I think GitHub was just launched to 2008, right? So GitHub was launched in 2008, and it was just starting. This era of open source was just starting. So you are lucky to actually have or know about the word or term called open source. And if we talk about me, I just started open source in 2019. Like after working in industry for 11 years, I realized I'm missing something. So let's go ahead and do something for community. And then I
Yeah.
realized how you can do it. I was really interested into actually contributing to Angular. So I started doing the PRs, and then how I just entered. So of course, before that, no one knew me. Even didn't knew anything about open source. I was just like, okay, I want to do it. And in India, no one actually talks about open source a lot. If you just go 2 years back in 2019, there were few. Now I have seen people talking about it, and they are really interested into it. A lot of students who are actually doing some amazing stuff. I was just speaking to James George. I'm not sure if you are aware of him. So James George is someone who is still a student, finally a student, and he's part of Webpack CLI core team. So which is really an amazing, or I would say proud moment for us, because someone from India actually representing the Webpack CLI team. So that's it, amazing stuff. And talking about how you can get into the open source, again, this is where you put your base, right? I mean, all these programs, Google Developer Student Club, or let's say Microsoft Student Partner, GitHub, they give you opportunity, they give you platform, they give you all the things which you require. And how they can start, how you can actually start open source contribution is, let's say Microsoft tells you about some new feature. Okay,
Yep.
so they introduce something. This is a new feature which we are planning in a new version of our framework. For example, let's say C sharp, right? So we are adding this particular feature, and then you go ahead and try out this feature. Okay, you say, okay, this is okay, but I think there is some, maybe some performance impact, or let's say it doesn't work.
Yep.
So what you can do is you can start actually exploring that technology, as well as you can start giving feedbacks.
Yep.
Remember, why Google invest in you, why Microsoft invest in you, or why GitHub invest in you is because they need feedback. And
Hmm.
uh, students are the most, what you would say, they make large chunk of developers in India, right? The future developers in India. So from where they can get feedback is from you, of course. So if you
Yep.
they introduce you to something new, some new features, go ahead and explore them. Go ahead and see if they are properly documented, or can you just talk about it? Can you just go ahead and see if you can create a small video, or let's say a small program showcasing that particular feature. This is how you can start, right? And then once you are comfortable with the code, go ahead and try to add new features.
Hmm.
I suggest, always suggest new developers to start with documentation, because this is one of the easiest thing you can start with. You will come to know about, you will get the idea about how this entire project works, how to commit, what format they accept, how to clone, how to fork,
Hmm.
or how to update your branches, how to, let's say, how their CI/CD works, right? So you will get all this idea by just making some changes to documentation. Maybe you add something new, or maybe you update something in the docs. You get to know about all these things. So documentation is, of course, the first place which you should look for, and this is also, I think, easy to find, right? I mean, if you have to, let's say, find a code, or find a bug in a code base which is thousands of lines of code, it's
Hmm.
really difficult on day one. Believe me, I mean, the people who get onboarded in Microsoft or Google, they won't be able to actually resolve the code or bugs on day one, because they
Hmm.
don't know about the code, right? So documentation, start from there, explore the technology. Once you become comfortable with the code, then just go ahead and just go ahead and see if there is any issue code related which you can resolve. And don't
Yep.
focus about the entire framework or library. For example, let's say in Angular, you have some small chunks, right? So if I go to Angular CLI, Angular CLI is a separate part. In Angular CLI also, there are multiple parts. There are compilers, there are, let's say, builders, schematics. So see which part you are comfortable with. Let's say, for example, for me, I know schematics and builders. So in case I have some issue related to schematics and builders, I know I can resolve it, right? So
Yeah.
because I know the code, and in case you want to get started with code, go ahead and explore the code base of any framework on technology or framework or library. This is where you will get to learn a lot. That's what I do when, in case I have to explore some part of the code. Of course, I just go to the Angular repository and see and walk through see the code, how they have written it. It helps me to actually sometime even find bug in my code, but I generally do it for fun, to be aware of how they have written their code. But I
Yeah.
don't see everything. So it's
Hmm.
like, okay, whenever I get some time and I have some things to do here, so I just go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'm just pausing you. There's a question. Hello, sir. If we want to choose a web dev as a basics for major or minor project, then what type of project would you suggest and various framework to learn for that?
Okay. So for web dev, I think in case you want to see some basic projects, Free Code Camp already has few. If for basic project I'm talking about, in case you want to create a large project, I would say e-commerce is the best one. And frameworks, of course, it's up to you. You have Angular, React, Vue, Svelte, whatever you feel comfortable with. Go ahead and choose anything you like. Don't go ahead and explore something because someone asked you to. I mean, someone says, okay, on YouTube you go through videos and then they say, okay, React is really good. You should give it a try. Give it a try, right?
Hmm.
But explore other stuffs as well. It's not like, okay, I tried React and I think I learned React. That's why I'm doing it, right? It's not like that. Go ahead and explore other stuffs, other frameworks as well, and see if you're comfortable with that.
So
Everyone struggles. Don't worry about it.
I posted Free Code Camp YouTube channel. You can check it out.
Yeah.
Like very great content. Like I also started with Free Code Camp only from my first year, so you can check them out. Like I ping here. And another thing, like as you say on open source, for the beginners who didn't know anything, like some who got about something about like C++, Java in 11th and 12th. But those who didn't know, like they didn't take even a C++ and Java, they didn't know about anything, and they're just starting out with languages, suppose C++ kind of languages. So what will you prefer as a starting for open source? Can they get started with open source if they're just starting with some like basic languages, C++, just understanding basic thing like loops, variables kind of thing? So what will you prefer? Yeah, or you can say, or what will you prefer a project on that part?
Uh, okay. So, I mean, you mean creating a new project using those technologies? This is what you mean? Some open source project?
No, basically, if from your recommendation, can there some are projects which they can get started with as a contribution as a contributor
Okay,
in the.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
To be frank, I'm not aware of C++ projects which are available, but in case you need, let's say for Angular, there are a lot of NGRX, Angular is one. Then there are a lot of libraries, Angular Material, NGX Bootstrap, NG Bootstrap. Similarly, in React also you have a lot of libraries, right? For example, you have, of course, React, then React Router. There are more libraries related to those. And I would say, if you can just read the documentation for once, I mean, whenever you are starting, the the biggest pain point for most of the open source project is no one reads documentation. If you read documentation, I think most of your issues are already sorted, right? And of course, it is sorted for you as well as the project. How? So if you see, if you go through the documentation and you find there is something wrong in the documentation, maybe some spelling mistake or maybe some code example which is wrong, which is not working, right? So who will give the feedback? They expect the developers to give feedback, and what developers are doing is they are just following some tutorial on the internet, don't care about the documentation, get stuck into some issue, and they start blaming the framework or library rather than start blaming the person who actually is sharing the wrong knowledge, right? They will never
Yeah.
tell them, okay, this is something which is, and for content creators also, right? The biggest problem is keeping their contents up to date,
Hmm.
because web is moving so fast that
Yeah.
every 6 months you get something new, and the
Yeah.
contents which you are seeing maybe, let's say, a year old. So you cannot even blame the content creators. The only person to blame here is yourself. because you never check the documentation, you never check the signature of that particular function, what has changed, and
Yeah.
you just started blaming the framework. So go through the
It's
documentation.
like there is experience from my side. I am one of the tutorial hell kind of. I got loop in the tutorial hell kind of thing. So I
uh,
am very interested in machine learning. And TensorFlow.js has came out.
uh,
It came out in 2018 at my first year, but I just seen about, you can say, in my second year. So I'm just reading tutorials, and it's about 1 year back, and he's just implementing the Express framework and just implementing everything. But now everything is, you can say, in abstraction mode in TensorFlow.js library. When I got to see about the, you can say, the whole documentation, I got to know that what like everything is given in documentation. Why I'm just seeing the tutorial kind of thing. Like
actually,
they good for those who are like a very beginner, who just want to get a basics of, you can say, every project of part. But if you got in depth, or you want to get started with some like a big projects, you have to see the documentation first of all.
actually,
Don't go for the tutorial kind of thing on that part.
yep. Tutorial will help you understand why to use it, right?
Yep.
But in case you are implementing something, always refer to the documentation in case you get stuck somewhere rather than actually just giving up. And what how you can also help is, of course, in case it doesn't work, of course, raise an issue, raise, or if you think that something has changed and which is not documented, go ahead and
Yep.
help them document that. You also get to contribute to the project as well.
Yep. And many of the guys, like many of the folks, like I always ask me, like I want to get like many there is a very misconception in India also. Like there's a very hype of a Google Summer of Code in the students in India. So they think that if we didn't, you can say, it kind of, they assume to be like an exam. If they didn't crack the Google Summer of Code, then they are not applicable for the open source. So just give you a motivation tips on that. Like they think that it's kind of a JEE exam for the college to
I
get into.
don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think so because you have an example in front of you, James George, who
Yeah.
is from Kerala. So I don't think so. He is part of any community. I think, he's not that involved. He's just doing one thing and he's doing it perfectly. He's contributing to open source, and that's what his focus is. He don't care about what Google Summer of Code is or what XYZ is doing. He just keep doing the open source contribution, became part of Webpack CLI team. What else? What other motivation you need? I'm really old. I'm 34 years now, and I'm not part of even as even in any big organization, right? But that guy, being a student, final year student, and he's part of Epic Code CLI team.
Yeah, okay. So let's, I think so, more discuss on like why, like you already said, open source give you a different part, you can say, a networking kind of thing. So what are your views on networking? Like it helps in industry. Like many thing, many one is quoted, networking is equal to net worth of your own. So what do you think networking is required? Like if like in my college, there is a 90% and 80% probability is that like they more on, you can say, I think so, what I will explain, like they are just following the gate kind of thing, like gate for going MTech, then they will do job from that. There is a very like there is a not say mentality, but many people are just following, like if 4 to 5 people just got top 5 ranking in gate, so they think there's the success rate is higher there, and they're following that part. uh, so what do you think? What do you think? Is it good as a good path? Like according to you, just first of all go to the MTech, like crack it MTech from IITs, and then get a job from there. So what your you can say the views on that?
I don't think so. That matters because I have done this BTech, sorry, BE, which we call in Mumbai. So Bachelor of Engineering. That's what I have done, and I also did diploma in engineering. But I mean, I wanted to do the BE. I could have actually received a job after completing this diploma as well, right? But I didn't went. I mean, I don't wanted to actually work. At that moment, I realized that no, I really want to complete my PE, and that's what I did. I think it's up to you. It's not mandatory. Remember, if you think you are ready for industry, I think you can go ahead and do it, and you don't need maybe ME, MTech, or any other degree.
Yep. So like I posted, like let's show me the banner of that. Like you can follow him.
Yeah.
It's a like You can follow him like always like James. I also followed James many he's a great guy, and always even if you like person like tweet him like he's always ready for the help.
Yeah,
For like if you need any help, so you can check them like in Twitter. Like there is a very vast area. I will say you just get started with the Twitter handle, because developer community is basically set up in Twitter only. You will,
exactly.
yeah, because many guys like many folks said to me like there is a very hatred in Twitter, why we get like why we socialize on Twitter. But believe me, I got many, you can say many good people, or you can, or for those who are helping me out like Eddie, Sid, Aditya Oberoi. There are many people who are helping through. Like I got them from Twitter only. Like Santosh only, I got from the. I didn't know about Santosh, but when I see her when I see her work, like it's a great community in Twitter also, and yeah, and the last question of my podcast, and last you can say. So, what are your tips for the beginners, like who are watching or who are watching after you can say after ended the live stream? So, what are your tips from your side to you can say as a college student who are just entering first year or second year also, even who in the final year also, who didn't do anything about in past 3 years, but he want to get started with in the you can say the placement kind of thing. So, yeah, what's your tips on that? Final
Okay, I
tips.
mean, uh, so it's a first thing. I mean, programming is hard, so don't give up. Give some time actually in case you start learning anything new. It takes some time, right? I mean, remember when you went to the college, it took 4 years to complete your or get your degree. You cannot expect that in 1 year you will be an expert in any technology or even in a month. I generally hate those videos where they say, okay, become a master in 30 hours or 30 days. That's not true. So believe me, every programming language is hard. Everything is hard. Not even programming language, even your life is hard. And you never gave up there. So don't give up on any technology or any framework. If you are really passionate about it, give some time. You go and explore as much as possible. Of course, one day you will be able to crack it. And uh, if your focus is on placement, go ahead and focus more on data structure and algorithm. That's what they are going to ask you in placement. But also, open source can help you a lot. In case you are already into open source community, many organization already know before you complete your college, and that can be an plus point for you in case you go for any internship or somewhere. So yep, that's it.
Okay, so thanks Santosh for coming on my channel and just giving the insightful points. Like because many people are very confused about it. Like they like we are from not a very cool like great college, but there is not a opportunity in our college. So can we get the opportunity through like there is a like mantra of gate in my college. So many people think that only a gate is a good ratio for here to like get a successful people, you can say. In successful people they mean to monetize, like in a monetization form they are getting a great salary, a placement salary. So thanks Santosh for giving your insightful points, and I will love to a collaboration with you with my community on some session kind of on Angular, or you can say a TypeScript kind of thing, so people get introduced and one-on-one mentorship from your end.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll run few things from my side. So I run this Meet with Santosh, which happens every Friday, I think. So in case you want to talk to me, you can actually sign up for that. Let me just share the link quickly with you. And apart from that, uh, I run this Tech Talks with Santosh. I'm sure
Yeah.
this is also where you
Sorry,
can. Uh,
I'm again pausing you. All the links of Santosh are being in description, so just go to his channel and subscribe to it. It's a great channel. I am following too. So just go to it. It's a great, you can say, great opportunity for you to get connect with other industrial people. Like in the previous meet, there is a Tervis UI one, so you can check that. You can check that out too.
So yeah, it was Tiger UI, which is a new library for Angular, UI component library for Angular. And apart from that, I'll just share this link here in case you want to schedule one-on-one. I think I have some slots
Yeah.
available probably in March. Two slots are available as of now. And James was also there on the channel a few weeks ago, and he also talked about Webpack. So in case you want to get started with Webpack, I would suggest go ahead and
This
check that video out.
came for you, Santosh. Can you tell us about your journey for GitHub Star?
Okay. Hey, Dheeraj. So GitHub Star, I think I was not expecting it to happen because uh, it's like I was already doing my focus was on actually to help the community. I was giving talks, doing open source stuff, and when they launched this program, I think somehow people started actually nominating me. I posted about it that okay, there is a GitHub Star program. If you think there is any GitHub or any star, I would say open source contributor in your community, go ahead and nominate them. A lot of them nominated me as a GitHub star, but I don't know why. But yes, so in case you already have good presence in the community, people know you. It increases your chances. But remember one thing: keep doing it because you love it, not because you want to become GitHub star or you want to become GDE. That shouldn't be the focus. In case you really care about the community will give you back in some ways you don't expect. I have been receiving a lot of good things because I started contribution to the community. For example, I got a new job. All everything because people know me in the community. I have received my last three offers from Twitter. I don't use LinkedIn that much because it's more of you get a lot of spam. Actually, the offers which you get from the Twitter is actually very genuine one, I would say. So yep, I mean if you that's what I believe in. If you give your let's say 10% to the community, you will get 100% back from the community. Just
Yeah.
10%. Remember.
I experienced that. Like I'm just getting started with community in COVID time because I didn't know single thing about in from my like I'm just entering in my fifth sem. Just so I didn't know about anything about community. What is community kind of thing? I didn't know about third sem. When the COVID happened about in my fourth sem, so I would get introduced with different communities through online platform, and I got the opportunity. Like why didn't I know that in from my first year? Like community is kind of a great thing, and we have communities in Chhattisgarh, but when I'm comparing with, you can say, with Mumbai, Delhi kind of community where people are very inclusive, like people are always ready for help. That kind of community is not here, so I'm just trying to make that. Yeah, true, Dheeraj. Community power. Yeah. So yeah, thanks Santosh, and I will bring you on my community in a kind of a day or kind of a
Yes.
recently I have a podcast with also one of the, you can say, Angular and TypeScript engineer, Joe Provide, who
Mhm.
also been a, you can say, a Facebook advocate for open source too. So we can collaborate with that too, so we can get a like a session on that. So yeah, see you all, and bye bye guys, and next podcast में मिलते हैं. Hope you like this video, and subscribe to Santosh channel. I give all the links in the description box. You can check them out, and I also link the portfolio link of Santosh, so you can check that portfolio too. So bye bye guys, and meet you in the next podcast.